UK metal machine Architects are on the cusp of their latest trip down under for a run of shows starting in Adelaide on February the 17th before going through Melbourne, Sydney and finishing in Brisbane thanks to Live Nation, Unify and Triple J. To celebrate the band's impending arrival, Heavy's own Kyra Jade-Coombs caught up with drummer Dan Searle to find out more information.
I'm Kyra from Heavy Magazine.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Likewise. You guys really pumped out your 10th album, The Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, quickly. Was it planned like that, or is it just because you could finally all be together in the same room and do it?
It was purely because we couldn't tour because of COVID, and normally the thing that sort of interrupts our creative process is having to go on the road, and I try and write music on tour because it feels like a good opportunity, and it never really works out. Like for whatever reason, that it just doesn't happen. So we were at home, and I remember we were just about to release For Those Who Wish to Exist, and it just occurred to us. At that point, we've had 6 months. We've had 6 months sat on For Those Who Wish to Exist, and we had already written probably 3 or 4 songs, and the album came out. I think For Those Who Wish to Exist came out in February, and by May we had recorded Deep Fake, we had recorded New Moral Low Ground. Those songs were mixed.
Yep.
So they're companion albums, it just felt like the right thing to do at the time. We credit Epitaph a lot because it doesn't make an awful lot of sense to release an album like straight away, having not toured and supported the one before. But yeah, it felt like we were sort of in a flow and a momentum, and we should just keep moving ahead. So that's what we did. Yeah. And now we ought to just take a beat.
Yeah. Yeah. Was the last time that you guys were over here, was that Groove in the Moo?
No. But we last time we were in Australia we locked down England on March 23rd, 2020, and at January 2020 we were in Australia. We were playing Unify, and August 2019 we did a headline tour of Australia. But I think Groove in the Moo was probably the one before that. Yeah. Maybe I can't quite remember.
A bit regional.
Finally hitting Townsville.
Yep.
That was a really cool tour. That was really fun. I just had Dave message me saying, "You good to do it? Yeah. You good to start?"
We're on. We're good. He's probably that's all good.
Yeah, he's probably like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. What's happening?
He's now asking if you're here.
Yeah, we're all good. We're on.
It's like it was funny because sweet. Okay, how do I put this thing on mute? It's even though COVID was in hindsight, it wasn't that long, in the grand scheme of things. But it gave you that it was long enough to make us all think that maybe it might last forever. Yeah. Yeah. And that things might never be normal again.
Yeah, that's it.
And so there's definitely a period of time when I thought, Australia's like, we'll talk about when we used to go to Australia.
Yeah. Oh.
There was a time I used to tell my kids, you used to be able to just go to Australia. I went there a bunch of times. My band was pretty popular there, we had fans there. Yeah, it's on the other side of the world, so, you can't go there anymore. Yeah. So the fact that we're able to go back now and do that again is still a bit surreal. It was funny, we flew to Germany just at the start of the year, just over a month ago, and I said to Northlane, who had obviously flown all the way from Australia, like, how did it feel arriving in Germany after all the time? It's the first time they'd left the country since COVID, left Australia. They said it was a surreal feeling. And I said, you know, the funny thing is, I flew an hour and a half, and I feel exactly the same. I was like, wow, I'm in Germany. Holy shit. You know, like, to be fair, like, other bands have been out there for months and months doing it, but we didn't leave the UK until December, so 3 months ago. It's the first time we left the country since COVID. We went to Mexico for one festival and came home.
Yeah.
So we're still in that stage where it feels like we're still getting back to normal.
Yeah.
You know, other bands I see other bands have been around the planet 1.5 times or something since COVID came and eased off. But for us, we're still readjusting, and it feels like a mix of surreal and strangely familiar. Yeah. Like it never ends. Like it never went away.
And a relief too, because it's back to normal. Yeah. It is getting back to normal finally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what would your teenage self say if you told him you were supporting Metallica on one of their world tours?
Yeah, if you told me that 5 years ago, I would have, you know, okay, in answer to your question, the teenage me would have laughed. I mean, it's a preposterous idea. You know, we came from a scene where the sort of glass ceiling was, and the height of our ambitions was to sell out the Mean Fiddler in London, which could hold 1,000 people. You know, that we had peers in the UK at the time who were not even peers, they're the biggest sort of metal acts in the UK. That was it. Yeah. You hit 1,000 people in London, and that's top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And you know, when Tom died 6.5 years ago, you know, not just my brother, but the songwriter for the band, it felt like if we managed to maintain anything of this band beyond this point, it will be a miracle.
Yeah.
So the fact that the band is bigger than ever and doing things like, you know, not just for me, that one of the most significant things about the Metallica thing is that they asked us.
Oh, right.
It's not like it's something we put our name in the hat for.
Yep. They
came and said, "Oh, do you want to support us?" And we said, "Yeah." Anyone say no?
Yeah.
So it's totally surreal, and you know, it's like life gets so busy with, you know, family, kids, and all this stuff that I have in my life now. But it's important to me that I take the time to pinch myself, you know, and say, oh, you know, we really like the salvage job on this band. To me, is a miracle. Yeah. It really is. Because huge. Like the band should be done, and I should have another job.
This is definitely your life.
Yeah, and when, you know, when we go and play, which hasn't been as much as I would like since the pandemic, but virtually every night we play, it's like, to me, it's like a pinch me moment. Let alone, you know, for those of us to exist, with being number one in Australia, on the other side of the planet, things like that. It's pretty amazing.
It is.
It really is.
It's huge.
And we do feel very lucky and grateful.
Yeah. So
I'm proud of ourselves.
Yeah, you should be proud. Even just carrying on in what you guys have accomplished together, and just like even being able to show people that you can come from the darkest depths and still come back and flourish completely is it's commendable, and I respect you hugely for that. It's massive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Alrighty, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fun was it creating the Tear Gas film clip? Will the porn stashes be back and the mullets?
It was so much fun, and we've got the boiler suit somewhere. We haven't got the mullets anymore, I don't think. But it was, you know what? Like in many respects, that video sort of captures the spirit of what the spirit of the album was created in, and. You know, the album hasn't resonated with all Architects fans, and I fully know why. or at least I think I do. You know, and it's not just people will disagree with me and say no, that's not really resonate with me. But to me, it's like we made the album. Maybe it's better for me to explain how we make our other albums, because our other albums are all made with this like weight, this emotional weight, and they're all quite heavy and at times bleak, and I think that aspect of our other records resonates with people because that is something they recognise within themselves.
Yep.
And it's obviously a feeling we recognise in ourselves too. But when we did Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, it was like we just sort of gave ourselves permission to make an album with more of a carefree attitude, more of a lightness. It was made with more of a spirit of fun at times, and you know, like some of those, there are qualities of that emotional weight there, but it's much more interspersed with a playful nature, and that's why, you know, because you know, whether it's like if you listen to Burzum or Immortal or Emperor, those guys still joke around and have fun and are silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they are just sort of channeling specific qualities of their experience as a human into their music, which is a much darker side of being a human being, which everyone has, and some people need that music to feel or experience those qualities in themselves. And so with this album, it was kind of just us giving ourselves a breath from that, and it was starting to happen for Inflows that Wish to Exist. And to be honest, I think I can kind of see that emotional weight returning on what we do next. But when we did Tear Gas, it felt like, oh, we finally got an opportunity to show that side of our personality, because we couldn't do a dumb video when the lyrics are about Tom dying. You know, like, and this felt like, although there's still like pretty serious content to the lyrics of Tear Gas, it felt like the song had enough of a bit of this sort of like bombastic character that we could go, this is our chance to do this video. And yeah, it was. So I directed the video. I directed a couple others, you know, like I directed Animals and When We Were Young, and it felt like Tear Gas was a much bigger challenge, a much bigger challenge. Just like for me to, I'm not a director. I just tried to direct, and I haven't got any. I've never trained or studied it or anything. And so trying to weave a narrative into that translates or communicates the comedic elements in a way that other people will understand, whilst like marrying it with a song that is at times aggressive or was like a massive challenge. But it was so much fun to, because music videos are a grind, and I don't know how it was for the rest of my band. I think they had some fun. I think there was fun involved. You know, we did it over 2 days. They were long days, and it was a head spinner for me. But we got to do it with the spirit of like silliness, and we got to experiment with being daft, and because also it's just my idea. Oh, guys, I've got this idea for a video. This is the storyboard, and I think especially with Josh in particular, I ambushed him a bit with the idea that I need to do some level of acting, and he was like, well, I don't want to act. And if you watch the video, Josh doesn't act at all. Like, his thing is that he has absolutely no expression. He never moves his mouth to look like he's move their mouth and they're really saying it. And it's sometimes you don't hear them, but you can see they're saying it.
Yeah.
Josh, he's like, sometimes his mouth doesn't move, completely blank face. And to me, he ended up being the funniest character.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. You can see it's lighthearted from the start, and it's good to see like your personalities come through. It's not all serious. Yeah, absolutely. Did you guys decide that you just hated all capital letters for this album? What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I just started typing out the song titles when we were writing, where I'd like name a song, like and then bounce it just like as a demo, and it would just be I just wasn't writing capitals, and we just left it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, I checked it out. I'm like, wonder if that was intentional. I was just like, oh no, I like that. We'll leave it.
It was like, oh, it's all okay. So we're like, well, we might as well do a new logo where the band name's all lowercase. Like, yeah, there's no pretentious meaning. It just happens.
Yeah. So you're the lead songwriter now. So what is your creative process? Are you a drums first man, or do you like to lay down lyrics first, or does it just come out as it comes out?
Oh yeah, it's very much like drums is my last thought.
Yeah.
And
yeah, right.
Sometimes there's like a line or a lyric, but usually it's I've kind of got this attitude that I just try and sit down as often as possible and just see what happens. And sometimes you sit down for half an hour and you have a whole song, and sometimes you sit down for 3 weeks and nothing happens, and it's just a case of just showing up.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm still like learning. I've only been involved with. I've only like been writing songs for 6 years. You know, I'm still new to it. I'm still a student, and but like it's like the most confusing, conflicting, bittersweet thing for me, because I never would have done it if my brother hadn't died.
Yeah.
But now getting to do it is one of the best aspects of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's my process is just trying to stay as open as possible to anything and pursuing an idea whether I think it feels like an architect's idea or not, and trying not to get too attached to anything. And if something resonates, if I create something and I want to listen to it again, then I just sort of follow that feeling.
Yeah.
I just follow that feeling.
Yeah.
It's all just based on how I feel.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely, yeah. Wouldn't want it any other way. It comes from your heart, and it's always going to come out the best way that way. Yeah. Yeah.
As long as I think the closest you can stay to that, you know, like when you know, like I knew that Animals was going to be this massive song for us from the second it was done. Like, you know, and we wrote it in a day, and it was done. And I was like, okay, well, here we just it just happened, you know, and like, oh, something special just turned up for us. And I knew, even though it was different, it would be like this massive song for us. It's funny, it's like, it's sort of borderline mystical at times, and I think that you hear a lot of artists talking about that kind of thing, and I think a lot of people would just say, you know, it sounds like a load of bollocks, but it's true, you know. Like the other day I was watching an interview with Noel Gallagher, and he said, early in the interview he says he's not a spiritual guy. He says he doesn't believe in anything like that. And then they ask him about his songwriting process, and he says, you know, things just come to you and they're just out there in the universe, and you just let them happen. And I thought, well, that's just like a direct contradiction, you know? Like I said, what is it? Do you believe that things just come to you from the universe, or are you not spiritual? Because it can't be both, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, there's a bit of magic about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Animals went absolutely gangbusters, so I think that's everything you need to know right there. And I think even it's just like your die-hard fans that have been with you since day one, who feel that sense of ownership over who architects are, or who they think they are, and then they struggle to let go.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next chapter.
yeah, it's hard for me to understand that, and I need to do my best to just respect that. And they, you know, everyone's got direct communication with bands these days, and you have access to their opinions if you want to read them.
Yeah.
And you know, like, we could release something that's like captures the spirit of what they liked before, and I imagine they'll then just be full of praise for us, you know. And it's like it's all very transient, and like, I don't know. We've spoken about this kind of stuff a lot with this album because we got quite a lot of grief online, but you know, like, kind of just they take life too seriously, I think, which they're caught up in whatever it is about their personality or whatever things that happen in their life to make them do that. But if I take their criticism on board too much or take it too much to heart, I am also guilty of the same thing. I'm taking life too seriously. Like, God, who cares? Like, whatever, you know. And that's easy for me to say. But now I've played. You know, I've gone off the back of releasing those songs and played big shows and seen people sing along in it. Obviously, if the crowd's deserted and it was clear that we were getting like fruit thrown at us on stage and stuff, it'd be harder to say. But you know, like, it's all just part of like this big pantomime. You know, it's all just theatre, really. Like, whatever.
Yeah, put on the show. People are going to say what they're going to say regardless. It's just hard these days because it's hard to switch off because it's all there right in front of you, and people are just so off the cuff.
Well, my experience is that the more grief you get, the bigger your band gets.
True. No bad press.
Like, I mean, that's just like, that is just my experience. I'm sure it's not the same for everyone. But and it's not all about being, you know, a big band. Yeah. It's really just about if we can write songs that we enjoy listening to, and we can feed ourselves and our families, and happy days.
Yeah, right. So probably last questions, you probably have to go to your next interview in a moment. But what's it like being in the band for so long and then actually becoming a family man and being able to share that with your kids and go on tours and go, hey, little dude, you were there. Like, I took you with me. You were tiny. And like having that new chapter of your life just come. That must blow you away.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I would say the answer to that would be it's very hard because touring takes you away from your family, and until you have, you know, like, I hated leaving my wife when I would go on tour, and that was hard, but it's way harder leaving the kids, especially because I have to leave my wife looking after the kids on her own. And so that is like, that has been a massive challenge for me on a personal level, and my kids, you know, like, my oldest daughter is only 4.5, so it's you know, she knows that I play in the band, and she knows that the band's called Architects.
Yeah.
She's still, and I can show her a video of me performing live, and she will sort of just say to me, "Oh, is that Uncle Sam?" And she doesn't quite understand what's really going on, and she hasn't seen. She's been to sound checks more recently, but she hasn't seen a show. You know, by the time we go on stage, she's in bed. You know,
right.
She's still young, so it's all still very hard for her to grasp. And what I am looking forward to is when she's old enough that she can jump on the bus and come with me, and it's not a big deal. Or she can fly out, jump on the bus, hang out, go to the shows, go home, and have that independence. I think that would be the coolest thing ever. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, she doesn't get it. My other daughter is only 1, so it's definitely added like a challenging element to what I do. But it also serves as a source of inspiration and drive for me as well to do a good job at what I'm doing. And you know, when I go away on tour, I am away because I need to take care of my family as much as I'm absent. So it's been not always been an easy match, and sometimes I feel like it'd be easier if I had a 9 to 5 and I was there at bedtime and things like that. But
for sure,
it's the life that I've been given, and it brings all sorts of massive privileges and benefits as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, balancing out the dynamic. I'm sure you'll nail it as it all comes out.
I'm trying.
Oh, awesome. Oh, thank you for being so open and honest. It was actually really nice to meet you. I appreciate it a lot.
Oh, you too. My pleasure.
All right.
No worries.
Hopefully everything else goes smoothly today. No more hitches.
yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, mate. See you later.
You too. Have a good day. Take care. Or good evening. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Bye.
I'm off to bed. See you later.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.